Good evening. The purpose of this meeting is to conduct the business of the Gettysburg Area School District. Board of Directors meetings and committee meetings are open to the public but are not public meetings. All school district residents who wish to make public comment should sign in prior to the start of the meeting and request to speak during citizens' participation. Public comments are welcome, and all issues will be referred to the appropriate board committee or administrator. Comments are always summarized in the official board minutes, which will be made available by contacting the business office. Please take a moment and silence any electronic devices, including cell phones. Alice is joining us via phone. Michelle may be delayed or absent, but she will be excused. The remaining board members are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no notices or communications this evening, and it's my understanding that there are no citizens wishing to participate in any public comment this evening. That will take us to routine approvals. I'd like to join 5.1 to 5.9, 5.1 being the agenda, 5.2 the regular board minutes from August 5th, 5.3 regular board minutes from August 19th, 5.4 is approval bus and van contractors. 5.5 is the approval of drivers. 5.6 is approval of bus stops. 5.7 approval of bus and van routes. 5.8 approval of bus and van changes. And lastly, in this motion to authorize 5.9, authorize superintendent approval. May I have a motion for 5.1 through 5.9?
So moved.
Second.
Question on the motion on the floor.
Mr. President, not so much a question. Well, yeah, I guess it is a question. Dr. Perrin, a lot of districts are having issues with finding enough bus drivers and substitute teachers. I was just curious, what kind of shape are the Warriors in at this point?
Probably better than most, but it's still a struggle to find basically all positions at this point as they become open. That's just where we are.
Any further questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call. Ryan.
Yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Al.
Yes.
Jeremy.
Yes.
Alice.
Yes.
Alice is affirmative, yes, and I am yes. Brings us to 5.10, Human Resources Recommendations. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Question?
Yes.
Cindy?
Not a question so much as an item in the Gettysburg Times recently came to my attention via voters who were concerned, brought it to my attention. I cannot, after saying that, in good consciousness, vote yes for HR items of any sort. So we have a large public meeting on right-sizing or downsizing.
Thank you. Are any additional question? Hearing none, roll call. Alice?
Yes.
Alice is a yes. Jeremy?
Yes.
Al?
I need to abstain on this one. I have a daughter that helps out with the musicals.
Mike?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Cindy?
No.
Ryan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Brings us to items for board action. Excuse me, 6.1, professional service contract for Warrior Stadium renovations. And I believe, Josh, are you presenting or is somebody walking us through this evening?
Sure, I can walk you through it. Essentially the same item we had on for information last board meeting. What we're asking for is action to approve the design contract for turf track and court, which would provide design and permitting services as well as construction administration services for team rooms. Jeff, do you mind scrolling up there a little bit or down, I guess it'd be? As we discussed last meeting, the proposed location for the team room is that black box on the south end of the stadium there. And just in a nutshell, basically, at this point, we use the middle school gym locker room, which is not set up for an athletic locker room. This will provide dedicated spaces for teams, not only football, but all teams that use Warrior Stadium, to have a dedicated space for pregame, halftime, and postgame activities.
Josh, quick question. That obviously might be an obvious answer. That's housing both the away and home teams.
That's correct.
What's the size?
It's roughly between 3,000 and 4,000 square feet. But at this point, we had Turf Track and Court do an assessment of where the best location was, as well as the approximate layout. The sizing would accommodate about 60 to 75 athletes on each of the visitor and home side. It'll also have the necessary restroom facilities, as well as a small training room for treatments and wraps to take place for the individual athletic events.
So no shower facilities, restroom, training room.
That's correct.
What's the proposed timeline?
Ideally, we would have design done by the end of this calendar year, potentially even getting it out to bid prior to the holiday. But more than likely, we'd probably put it out to bid sometime in January, with bids due back before the end of January, and we would look to make award in early part of February. Obviously, we would need to get it on to the F&F meeting agenda for review and recommendation for information item to the board, and then an action item to the board. So if we are able to get the contract by, I'd say, mid to late February, we would try to get this project done during the summer of next summer, right after graduation, and try to get it completed before the first football game.
So you answered my last question on a disruption of any of our athletic events or graduation.
Well, we wouldn't start until after graduation. We just have to see how the timeline would go over the summer. Weather would be a huge factor. There shouldn't be a long lead time with any of the materials. It's basically just structural work, concrete block, things of that nature. It'd just be really just trying to shoehorn all that work into really probably a 2.5 month time frame. So, but yeah, that's the intent, is not to have any disruption to any of the school activities.
Thank you. Does the board have any additional questions?
Mr. President,
Mike?
I don't have any questions. I don't want to steal any of Tim's thunder because he's the chair of the F&F committee, but I was the one that asked several months ago to send this back to committee for further review, and this particular topic has been back and forth and in and out of F&F meeting for probably the better part of a year now. And since there has been some public interest recently, I think it's just worth noting a couple of things, and Tim can elaborate on them if he chooses. But like the money and that's earmarked and set aside for this has been part of our 5-year capital improvement plan. It's not any new taxes or new expenditures that we're shoehorning into a budget. And Josh and the committee have done a pretty phenomenal job of changing the scope of the bleachers and what we're going to do with the bleachers, and doing cosmetic repair and safety repairs, and reallocating funds to actually make this happen, because it is an issue. Like the middle school isn't really set up for team rooms or locker rooms, and there's been a lot of instances where lacrosse players and soccer players have had to change in their cars before practices and different things. So this will actually be a welcome to the district, and I think it will benefit all the students and athletes.
Are there any additional comments? Hearing none, roll call. Roll call. Ryan?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Can we make a motion?
Oh, jeez. I went ahead of myself. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I'll backtrack. Any questions on the motion? Hearing none, roll call. Ryan,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Al,
Yes.
Jeremy,
Yes.
Alice.
Yes.
Alice is a yes, and I vote yes. Motion passes. This evening, no informational items exist. Board committee reports, or are there any committee reports this evening? No board committee reports. Program reports, Jason?
No, simply just a thanks to all the district staff, teachers, admin for a good start to the school year. Special thanks to our bus drivers. It's pretty fluid. Those first 2 weeks as new folks are put on the rolls, other folks come off the rolls, so the routes change a lot in those first couple of weeks, and the rest of us can't do our job with the kids unless they do theirs, and they do a pretty phenomenal job. So thanks to the drivers and thanks to everybody else in the district, and including the families, and for getting the school year off to a positive start. Thanks.
Our next meeting will be September 16th at 7 o'clock here in the boardroom. A note, this board will hold executive session immediately following this meeting in reference to a personnel matter. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We stand adjourned. Thank you.